DJ and PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. We are joined right now by Dave Rice. He's the new basketball coach at Salt Lake Community College. Dave, good morning.
Good morning. I just couldn't stay away from PK any longer, so had to move back. It has been long enough, PK. And
journalism is all about the who, what, when, where, and why. And I was going to start with, why did you want to be a community college basketball coach, do the 2-year JC thing? You've been at 4-year schools, at multiple ones, and you've built a good career there. And then the why is just ripped away from me right away. It's to be near PK.
Well, just a great opportunity at a great institution. 4 coaches. I'm the 4th coach at Salt Lake Community College since 1991, and so it's a great tradition of success. Norm Parrish, Todd Phillips, Kyle Taylor all did great jobs, and great leadership with Kevin Dustin, whom everyone in the state knows, who is a great high school coach and administrator and just a great leader. And I just think it's an opportunity to be a head coach again in an area that we love. We loved our 7 years in the state of Utah, a year with Stu Morrill at Utah State, and then 6 years with Dave Rose at BYU. It's just a great place with great basketball, tremendous high school coaches, great players that can be the foundation of our program, and just excited to be back.
You were at Washington for a number of years, and then I think you were out a year or two, right? And then you went to Cal Baptist before you got to take this job. How did it come about that you had interest in it and they had interest in you?
I've been a lot of places, obviously, in my career. Most of it at Division I. Of course, being a head coach at Division I at UNLV, my alma mater, and then 7 years that I made mention of in the state of Utah, and then 4 years in the Pac-12. And it did take some time off, which was really good for me. I talked about managing my experience, learning from my experience, and I wanted to get back in. And I did that at Cal Baptist last year in the WAC. And then this opportunity came about, and it was a no-brainer for me, again, with the great leadership of Kevin Dustin, who's the athletic director there, and just a great state for basketball. My wife's excited. She loved the 7 years we were in Utah. She came back with me last week, and it was like a reunion tour with all of her friends. And
did they reach out to you? Or did you reach out to them?
Both. Oh, in terms of the job opportunity?
Yeah, at SLCC.
Kevin and I have stayed in touch over the years. Kevin was an administrator when I was with Coach Morrill at Utah State, and so Kevin and I have stayed in touch over the years. And so it was kind of a mutual interest in the opportunity. Of course, I'd been on Salt Lake Community College's campus for many, many times, having recruited at various places, and just always had a really good feel when I went on campus. And it's always great when you come back on campus as a coach, and as good as you think it was, it's even better. Great people, great leadership, and it just really makes me happy that I made the decision to come back.
There are a lot of ways to build a program or to build a team, and the program at Salt Lake Community College has been good for a long time, as you documented. There have been a lot of tournament runs and that kind of thing. But to build a team in this era of NIL and transfer portal, there's freshmen who hit the transfer portal who don't know where to go and maybe think they're going somewhere and then they're not, so they might be looking for a spot at JC. There's the traditional kids who've always been looking for a spot in JC. There's a new group of kids who are getting squeezed because 4-year schools are trying to build rosters. The coaches there want 22, 23, and 24-year-olds because they're more likely to win than an 18 or 19-year-old. So you might have a caliber of high school kid looking at JC that JCs couldn't get before. You weigh all those things. Which direction do you think you're going?
Yeah, it's like when we're in school and we take a test and we see A, B, C, D, and E is all of the above. And I think the answer is E, all of the above. I think it's putting together a great roster, combination of high school kids who are incoming guys who maybe don't have quite the opportunity that they think they could, and they come to us to play for a year and really showcase their ability in a team concept. It's bounce backs. It's guys who've been at the Division I level, maybe put their name in the transfer portal and they don't have the opportunity they want. It's some guys who maybe don't qualify academically. So I think it's a great opportunity, and it's a great way for for us to build a great roster that plays together, that plays hard. And the great thing about Salt Lake Community College is the location and the tradition. And so every college coach in America knows where our school is. It's part of our recruiting pitch, and there's a great opportunity for guys to come showcase their skill for a year or two and go on to the big time.
I always hated, Dave, when it was all of the above because I felt like that reduced my chances of guessing correctly.
It's that ASU education, I suppose.
Yeah.
See,
so
with the
bugged me.
With the UC Santa Barbara education, I always thought that all of the above thing, if I could just pick out one that I knew was wrong, I could rule out that one and the all of the above and double down.
Well, sure, if I knew it would be no problem.
Well, then I guess from there, obviously.
Yeah,
the tough part when one of the choices was A and C or B and D.
Oh, then you signed up for the wrong class.
Yeah, geez. Then I realized, okay, well, no big deal about passing this class this semester. I'll just get it next semester. So that's where I was at. With your contacts, you've been doing this for a long, long time. It just opens the door. You've got local kids, but you've literally got kids that people are almost, I don't know if I can say around the country, but a good portion of it. How much is that going to benefit you in filling out a roster?
I'm fortunate that I've been a lot of places and have gotten to know a lot of really good people around the country, and I think there's a trust factor for sure that there'll be schools, people, AU coaches, families that want to send their young player to play for us, just from a trust standpoint, and again, from the fact that it's a really good institution, that there's a tradition of graduating our players and playing high-level basketball. And so I just think we're going to be able to put a really good roster together and do some good things. And it's a competitive league. I mean, think about CSI and North Idaho and Snow and USU Eastern. Really good league that's always a factor in junior college basketball. But excited to be back. And again, one of the things, there's great basketball. I made mention of it, played in the state of Utah. I could start listing, tens, hundreds of high school coaches that just do a great job of preparing their young men for college basketball, and that's what we plan to do with our guys, is get our guys ready for the next level.
How many local kids do you think you have on the roster, and how many will be out of state?
I think we'll, probably somewhere half to 2/3 will be local guys, and then we'll supplement that with high-level national recruits. And I really think that's the way to do it. I mean, one of the things I've learned over the years from having done it for a long time is individual talent's important, but doing it in the team concept is more important. And it's not a one-on-one game. It's a 5-on-5 or 12-on-12 game in terms of putting a roster together and playing hard and doing the things it takes to win basketball games.
Do you know percentages of guys who have played at Salt Lake Community go on to 4 years? Because I'm thinking it's pretty high.
I don't know the exact number, but it's a very high number. And one of the things is I've gotten the job and gotten calls from across the country is that everyone knows Salt Lake Community College from a basketball standpoint. And a lot of that's because of the great coaches that have come through here and the players that have moved on and even international players. And we'll probably have an international player or two on our roster as well. But, again, it's going to start with our local players, return missionaries, other players who've played in the state of Utah. We're really excited about those guys.
Is junior college basketball free from NIL, or is that a factor there also? It's
a factor also. I think it's become something that we all have to embrace. That's the era that we're in. It's not to the degree that maybe Division I is, but whether it's high school or junior college basketball, everyone wants a piece of the pie, and I understand that everyone has an impact on success and winning, and we have to recognize that and embrace it and know that that's the era that we're in.
Crazy. And I have the background in Phoenix, and there's several junior colleges down there in the valley, but we only have one here. And I know they got 50 extension campuses and online and all that stuff, so it's a different world. But as far as the athletic programs, man, you have a huge body to choose from if anybody wants to stay local, because the next junior college is, at least a couple hours away.
Yeah, we're fortunate, and it's a junior college that's got great academic programs and obviously a tradition, not just in men's basketball but in other sports as well. And I'll keep going back to it. You're only as good as your leadership, and we have great leadership with Kevin Dustin as our athletic director. And it's an exciting time to be part of what's going on and putting a roster together. And you made mention of it, and it's so true, is that there'll be some young men that are really high-level players that just because of the transfer portal just don't get opportunities. And that's one of our recruiting pitches is come to Salt Lake Community College for a year, showcase your ability in the winning program, and move on to the next opportunity. And I think that's a big part of it. I know as a coach, I've got to win games. I get that, or they'll be looking for a new coach. But another part of it is making sure that we get our kids the best opportunity for a move to the next level. That's really, really important.
The fact that you have worked multiple places with multiple people, does that give you the network to sort through all the players who are in the transfer portal? Because it seems like there has to be a lot of talent there, and it also seems like there's talent there that will have no chance to flourish in your team scheme because that's not really what they're into.
Yes, absolutely. And that's one of the things that I've learned through my experience is even at the junior college level, you've got to have experience. And so we can't put entirely talented freshmen out there. At the same time, we need talent, but we're never going to sacrifice character or team play just for talent. And I think that's important. And I think there's a reason we look at the NCAA tournament and we see Oakland beat Kentucky, or a year ago we see Fairleigh Dickinson beat Purdue, or we see UMBC beat Virginia, or even Duquesne, taking down a really good BYU team. I mean, it's a one-game situation, and it's important to have a group that understands that continues to get better from the start of the year to the end of the year. But it starts with character and skill level, and obviously three-point shooting is really important. You better have shooters on the floor because that's become the great equalizer in our game.
At your level, what's the deal as far as having full-time paid assistant coaches?
We have a full-time assistant coach and then also a part-time assistant coach and then some volunteer coaches. And I'm excited about the process of putting together a staff, and it's ongoing. Obviously, I just started a few days ago, and so there's great interest. But it's important. You're only as good as your leadership, but you're only as good as your staff. And so there's great interest in that, and I'm trying to figure that out. And I'd like to hire about 12 guys, but I can only hire a few. But we're going to have a good staff, and that's really important to our program.
Back in the day, there were coaches who would stash kids at junior colleges. So forming kind of a partnership and providing a pipeline was one good way to build a good junior college program. And there are lots of examples of that. But I don't know in the transfer portal NIL era if that still works. Does it? Are you interested in that at all? Do you have that kind of relationship where four-year coaches will help guide players to your program?
I think that there is definitely that opportunity to do that, and it's a little bit more unofficial than that. But I think it's a situation where a young man is much better being at a community college like ours, where you play against high-level competition, where he's getting minutes, where he's getting experience, than sitting on a Division I bench. And because the pressure to win is so great at every level, including ours, but at the Division I level, the pressure is so great to win. You just simply cannot be too young. You've got to have older, experienced guys, and that's why coaches have become, almost addicted to the transfer portal, because they want to make sure that their roster is as old as possible. Because no matter how talented an 18 or 19-year-old is at Division I level, there's a 22 or 23-year-old that just has that much more experience and age and so forth. And 3 or 4 years from then, the younger guy may be better because he's more talented, but in the short term, you've got to be experienced. And I think it's the same way for us. And so I think there's going to be that opportunity to have some of those younger, talented guys in our roster, let them come in, play for a year, and I talked about it, showcasing their individual talent and the team concept, and get ready for the next level. That's a great formula, I think, for success.
If you go back to Kansas and win the junior college national title, I think at that point that will make you the most famous Claremont Wolfpack graduate above Jessica Alba. Do you think so?
That's pretty good company to keep, though, Jessica Alba. I think I'd be a distant second to that one. But
did you know that she was an alumni of the Wolfpack?
Of course, and you know that Jim Morrison of the Doors actually grew up as a young guy in Claremont, California.
He did. Yes,
he
absolutely, he did. Yes,
he did. And Mark McGuire was hitting home runs at Claremont Little League. I've got great company to try to keep.
If Claremont sports history is a category on Jeopardy, you're going to make yourself some money.
Yes, absolutely. But again, excited to be here at SLCC, and just want to build on the great tradition of the program, and really happy to be back in Utah.
Well, Dave, thanks for a few minutes and joining us, and you're closer to PK, and that makes everything better.
And DJ, I'm closer to you.
You are, but you know. Thanks, Dave.
I really appreciate it. Look forward to coming back on again.
Okay.
But thank you so much for the time.
Thanks, Dave. Dave Rice, he's the basketball coach at Salt Lake Community College.